Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
The WFO Radio Parade of Champions, something we have been doing every year since our inception 10 years ago. That's right, the 10th anniversary year coming to a close here in 2019. It has been a fantastic year. Thank you so much to all you listeners out there. I feel like we do a pretty good job of letting you know how much we care about you. The idea that you've supported this podcast. Some of you have been around for all 10 years. Some of you just found it for the first time here today. And regardless, if you're a brand new listener or an old school listener, or you go back to my XM satellite radio days, we appreciate you. You've got so many choices, more and more choices now. We like to think that we bring you a unique perspective. It's not the only perspective, but it is a unique perspective. Coming at this thing, NHRA drag racing and motorsports, in a unique way. And one of the most important things that we do is highlight the champions at the end of the year. And I can promise you, we are going to have all of the champs throughout the Lucas Oil Series, throughout the Mello Yello Series, all on the show before we light cars at the Winter Nationals in February. We like to time it out to make sure you got a reason to click subscribe, download the free mobile application, Apple Podcast, Spotify, however you want to get your podcast. We've got our own mobile app, which is great. On this edition, we are about to hear from our first Lucas Oil Series world champion. She got the job done in stock Eliminator in her 1998 Pontiac Firebird. She is an electrical engineer, which is super cool. You are going to hear from Allison Doll, formerly Allison Smith, Allie Smith. Got married to Doug Doll, now Allison Doll. Allison is a stock Eliminator world champion. You are going to love her. And this interview coming up, I have no doubt. But first, I want to thank the great sponsors who make it all possible. And frankly, maybe one of these companies has got something that you need in your holiday gift-giving season or potentially in your future. For instance, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, right? People go get their license. They go to get their mind right. But he also does a program called the Dragster Adventure. And the Dragster Adventure is for thrill seekers, simply put. People who want to have fun with race cars on one given day. And that's why it makes a great gift for the holidays. You send a friend or family member or a client or employee on the Dragster Adventure with Frank Hawley, and they go and they sort it out. They go to one of the events over the course of the coming year. They travel all around the country. Gainesville, Florida, Tucson, Arizona, Fontana, California, Baytown, Texas, Joliet, Illinois, Norwalk, Reading, Pennsylvania, Denver, Colorado, Woodburn, Oregon, etc. And that's just the schedule so far. They usually add some dates. We're talking about driving a dragster. We're talking about going 130 miles per hour in the quarter mile. Fun stuff for the adrenaline junkie in your life. They will appreciate this gift. 866-480-7223. Call them at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Tell them you want the Dragster Adventure. You heard it on WFO Radio. They'll send you a certificate. You pay for it. You give it to your loved one. They freak out. That's what's cool about it. FrankHawley.com. There's Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com for the coffee files out there. Roasted, fresh per your order, gourmet coffee from all around the world, or drag racing themed blends like Funny Car Chaos, like Bang the Blower, like WFO Radio Blend. You can call and order the WFO Holiday Packs, the WFO Blend, a bottle of hot sauce, container of award-winning spice rub, all roasted fresh per your order. Amazing stuff. Go to Rodak, R-O-D-A-K-S, coffeeandgrills.com, and give them a call, 817-924-6821. I like to send it out to all the great people who supported WFO as sponsors over the course of the season, because I know what it's like to have that box of Rodax show up at my house, and I know how great an experience it is. Trust me, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Hopefully you're all catching up on the Factory Stock podcast that we put together this season. That was a great new venture. Amazing. 713-683-3817. For you people who are undecided about what to do in your career, but you know you love racing, and you want a good education to start out with, that's what Samtech is for. They put you on the road. They teach you what you need to know. And then when you graduate, they can potentially help place you in a job, in a career with a company that is connected. They get phone calls all the time. I need CNC machinists. I need EFI experts. I need engine block machinists. And then they have their list of students, and they know who would go well where. That is why it is such a good job. And the Massengill family down there in Houston, Texas, doing such a great job with this program. 713-683-3817. They have financial aid. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. They have an Associate of Applied Science degree. Start your education at full speed. samtech.edu today. And it's been a great honor to work with those folks this year, to see what they do, to meet the graduates, and realize, like, wow, people's lives are like, I don't want to say directionless young people, but they didn't really know what the path was. And now they are like crew chiefing cars in Samtech Factory Stock Showdown because they went to Samtech. That is great stuff. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. For you engine builders out there, this should be a no-brainer. You're probably already buying from them. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Simple as that. They make one of the best products out there in the business. The piston ring is so vital. Everything that you buy, if you're not sealing the cylinders, it's almost a waste. So you need good rings. From Pro Mod to Nitro to Formula One to Stock Eliminator, Total Seal has clients in the biz, and you should too. If you're building engines, you're building them at home, you are an over-the-road mechanic, you're a mechanic, and you have to make an order. If you're an engine shop, TotalSeal.com. Check them out. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And finally, MagicDryUS.com, the official organic absorbent of the NHRA. Magic Dry came on a while back. Scott Palmer, who I'm proud to say listens to the show. What's up, Scott? Brings on Tommy Thompson and Magic Dry and Cat Spot a few years ago. We always say if you got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you have a business, if you have got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you're constantly cleaning nasty spills, Magic Dry is for you. It's 100% organic. It's made out of coconut. It's not bad for the environment. And it absorbs 560% of its weight. That's what's cool. It's lighter to carry around over the road, and it's better at its job. It naturally controls odors with zero chemicals. It's biodegradable. Go to MagicDryUS.com to find out more information. They've even got great spill kits that you can get depending on how big of a need that you have. Plus Drag Racing Edge magazine and EV3 drag racing for your mobile device. Been with us cross-promoting WFO Radio and drag racing. Thanks to them. And remember, click subscribe. All right, it is time to get into it. Joining us now, she is the Lucas Oil Stock Eliminator World Champion. Got the job done with 689 points. Allison Doll joins us now on WFO Radio Podcast. Allie, congratulations. You are the champ.
Thank you. It's been a dream. Really, just a dream season. It's been great.
Well, let's talk about that. Dreams, right? You told me you were a junior dragster kid at one point, and, did you... world champion. Is that something like you aspired to be, like when you were fantasizing about racing and putting yourself in situations, like, or did you just want to race and compete and do as well as you could, or did you ever have the world championship goal set for yourself?
I'm going to be honest, like, I guess everyone that participates is like, wow, wouldn't it be awesome to be world champion? But from a realism standpoint, I always just, was more focused about getting the Wally, and I just wanted to win a Wally. And it always seemed like, I always thought that, I watched some of my heroes in stock and super stock race and never come away with a world championship. So I guess I never thought it was something I could do.
And who are they?
Not to sound negative.
No, but who are your heroes in stock and super stock that, now you have a championship, but I'd love to know who is your inspiration in addition to your family, obviously.
Yeah. So Anthony Fetch, I always looked up to him a lot in racing. Anthony's awesome. He's a great racer. And, I watched him race for years, and he came close to a world championship twice and couldn't just had things happen that it didn't end up falling his way. So he's kind of the one that I always look to, and he's an awesome racer.
Yes, both of the Fetches are awesome racers. And let's share what you do with the audience out there. We recently did an Attention in the Pits episode for NHRA, which was kind of cool. Hopefully a lot of my audience has seen that on NHRA social media, but if not, that's fine. You mentioned negative thinking. It's not negative thinking. It's like analytical thinking, right? Like this is a very challenging thing. The idea that any person is going to win a world championship, odds are against it. It's very tough. You're an electrical engineer, started off junior dragster racing, got into the family business, and went to school. And now you are, from what I understand, the designer, the engineer behind the Porta-Tree systems.
Yep, I work on the practice trees, the timing systems, test tracks, simulators, pretty much anything timing electronics, and that's what I play with all day.
Wow, that is super cool, and it gives us a little understanding. The engineering mindset is a thing, right? Like it's a thing, and it's probably impossible to turn off.
Yeah, it's true. You're just always thinking about things, and I mean, I'm not as mechanically inclined as like my brother. I'm more with the computers and the fuel injection, but it's definitely, I definitely analyze things a lot. My brother tells me maybe too much.
So let's talk about the 2019 season, which turned out as your championship year, and just looking at the guys that you beat, right? Like the rest of the top five: Joe Santangelo, Jody Lang,
yep.
Chris Knudsen, Austin Williams, Brenda down there in 6th, Justin Lamb 7th, Slate Cummings. I'm going to keep going. Slate Cummings 8th. Like, what a murderer's row of a top 10. Craig Maddox 9th, Jeff Longany rounding out the top 10. Even on down, Jeff Strickland finishing 13th behind Leo Glasbrenner and Chris Chaney. Like, unbelievable racers, top to bottom. You're the champion. Take me back to your first race of the year, though. Was there some sort of something different about 2019? Did you guys set out to win this championship? Did you we got something going to put on them this year, or did you just start racing and get good results?
Well, to be honest, the season didn't start out on a completely positive foot. The weekend before the Virginia Nationals, so my home division's the Northeast, so we try to do most of our races close to home. So the week before Virginia, I actually broke the OptiSpark, which is the distributor on the Firebird. Possibly the worst part to break, and it breaks a different way every time, I would say. So it took us like a whole day to figure out that it actually was the OptiSpark. So that's kind of how I started my season. So you can probably say that I wasn't too hopeful for anything big from the year. I'm like, wow, this is great. First weekend out, we're already breaking stuff.
It's funny to hear you say it like that, though. And before you go any further, tell everybody about your car, which we did highlight. But you got a nice little Pontiac Firebird that is a beautiful machine. Tell them what it is and how fast it goes.
Sure, it's a '98 Pontiac Firebird with an LT1 motor. We run it in B stock. So in B, it generally runs like 1040s, 1030s if it's particularly good weather at, 126. If we take the weight out and run an A, it goes as high as 130. And we've even squeaked into the 9s when it was an A, but the weather was like fantastic. And that's pretty much the car.
There you go. Very cool. So you break the OptiSpark, which is your, ignition distributor system, pretty much on an LT style engine, correct?
Correct, which is strategically placed behind the water pump, the radiator, everything. So you have to take pretty much the whole front out of the car in order to change it.
Ugh. Wonderful design there, but in stock Eliminator, you have to retain. So you replace.
Gotta keep it stock.
Yeah, got to keep it stock. That's why people love it also, and it is also probably very challenging. So you got it replaced, and how did you do in the race?
So I went to I guess it's the quarterfinals, so we have some reduced fields at nationals for the sportsman categories. So there's usually only 6 rounds. So I made it to 4th round, which is the quarterfinals. So it wasn't a terrible showing, but it definitely, after all the struggle, I was like, wow, maybe I'll win. And, you get all hopped up every time, you have something adverse to overcome. But it was definitely not a bad showing. But then the next few races, I didn't really do much better. I went out third round at the Maple Grove Divisional and then first round at the Chicago event, which I was attending as an all-star, but I also raced the event.
Okay, so start of the season, problems, and you just kind of, getting ground into the ground a little bit. Where did where did things turn upwards?
I guess the first strike of positive racing started at New Media. Doug and I went to New Media, which was actually our fourth race in a row. So we had been racing every week until this with not much positive happening. But it was my dog Daisy's birthday that weekend. So I was just thinking, man, it would be nice to bring her home a trophy.
That's cool. That's cool. And you were able to do it.
Yes, it was a very tough race. In the last few rounds, I think I raced Bubba Linky, who's one of the best in Division I, Joe Santangelo, who you mentioned his name already, and also Anthony Fetch in the final. So, I mean, how crazy to race your mentor, the one you look up to in the final, and to come out on top. Oh, it was one of the most memorable runs I think I've ever had. Wow,
that is just awesome to hear after you had just mentioned it. And I know Joe is a killer, right? He had such a great year. He just kind of mixed his wins between stock and super stock. So you go out there. The Doug you reference is your husband, for everybody that know. Doug Doll, who is a former competition eliminator world champ, an excellent racer. So you guys are touring around 4 weeks in a row, racing everywhere, and you end it with a victory over your mentor, stock eliminator hero. That I can see how that changed the energy.
Yes, it was definitely positive at that point. From there, we went to Lebanon Valley Dragway. So in Division I, we do a lot of racing early on, like May, June, and then July, we kind of take the month off, and then we get going again August, September, and we have a ton of races in August and September. Okay. So we went to Lebanon Valley, which was kind of like the last race before the time off, second to last race before the time off period. And that race, I got down to fifth round, and we were going into fifth round, and it started to rain. So they ended up postponing the race for actually 2 months. They were going to finish it in September. So this is, we'll call it the first week in July, and we're postponing the race till the end, to the beginning of September. And I remember just thinking, wow, as if they couldn't put any more stress on the situation,
Sure.
Let's make us wait.
But you're still in, though. You still got a shot. It's like having like a lottery ticket or something that's still in play.
Exactly. It was so positive. So anyway, from there, I went to the New England National, which is the week after Lebanon Valley. And unfortunately, I lost first round. I had a heads up that I couldn't win against Gary Richards.
An unwinnable heads up. Those are the worst.
Yeah. It's, there's two ways of looking at it. It's hard because you go in knowing that he probably has the upper hand on you, but you also can go in thinking, wow, I have nothing to lose. Like, he's got to do everything, sort of perfect, and I just have nothing to lose.
I like the attitude. I like the positive energy. And for those that, obviously fans of John Force who are listening to our interviews, in Stock Eliminator, when two cars of the same category happen to go up against each other at any point, dialing in and all that stuff goes out the window. It becomes a heads-up drag race. Whoever gets to the finish line first.
Mm-hmm. That is absolutely correct.
Which is awesome.
And unlike funny cars and top fuelers, our cars don't all look the same. So it may not be obvious that, these two cars are going to run first to the finish. But just look for the markings on the windows. If you see two cars with Bs, they're in the same class, and we're going to run together. Two cars with As, and down the line, all the way to Z and on and on.
Absolutely. Well, look at the final at Indy this year. Super cool. It was like K stock.
Mm-hmm. Very awesome.
Very awesome.
Actually, the last couple of years at Indy, I think, have been heads up, like maybe not last year, but the year before. So I feel like every 2 years or so at Indy, you're going to see a heads up final. It's awesome.
It is awesome. All right, so you come out on the short end of the unwinnable heads up, and
unfortunately, it was first round, but we pressed on. We went on to Atco Dragway, where I also didn't do very well. The car had been awesome in time trials, and then for whatever reason in eliminations, things just didn't go my way, but we pressed on. So two kind of not ideal events. And during this time, Joe had been doing really well, Santangelo. He was actually leading the points, both the divisional and the national points. So for those who don't know, the sportsman categories run for two series simultaneously. We have our divisional series, which is kind of our local weekend races. And then we have the national series, which takes points from the local weekend races and the national races and adds them together. And it's a combined score that decides the national champion. So
I love how you're explaining this, by the way. You're doing such a good job. It's almost as if you have done this on a regular basis.
Nope, just trying to help. I know you're always trying to educate, so just trying to help. Yeah, so we went to Atco and then to Cecil. And Cecil is really, I'd say, where things turned around. I mean, one win doesn't make you a champion. 2 wins doesn't even, but you just have to keep being steady, being consistent, going rounds. And if you try not to think about it too much, you just got to hope the points fall in your favor. I forget who quoted him, but Anthony Bertozzi is known for saying that you really shouldn't keep track of a championship. Other people will do that for you, and they'll call to tell you that you won. You don't need to be watching it. And I was trying to follow that mindset this year. Just don't think about it. Just keep going rounds, keep doing the best you can, and hope everything just falls in place.
That's great advice from Anthony. That is great advice. Other people will call you, and that is so true. The text messages, the calls, it's like other racers want to keep track of it more than the driver.
Exactly. You should look up the exact quote because it's really funny how he put it, and but I think it's a great way to look at it. So at Cecil, I managed to win the race, and that kind of opened my eyes because at that point, like I said, Joe had been really far ahead. So the Cecil win really brought things into perspective, brought me at least close for the division title, and put me in a good place nationally as well. A few weeks later, we go and we finish the Lebanon Valley Divisional. Joe was still in. I was still in. Bubba Linky again. It's all the big hitters in Division I. Little Jimmy Daniels. I always call him Little Jimmy because I know his father, but Jimmy Daniels, Division I.
Sure.
So a lot of the big names in Division I still in. And we go, and I managed to win the Lebanon Valley final as well. And now my eyes are like wide open, like, wow, like, what is going on here in a positive way. And that kind of opened me up to the idea that maybe this national championship chase is doable. From there, we raced almost every weekend through mid-October. We went to the Sports Nationals in Columbus, which is a national event only for sportsman racers. So if you guys anyone really likes the sportsman categories and doesn't want to go see the pros, you can check out that event. It's at Columbus National Trail Raceway in Columbus, Ohio. From there, we went to, we went to Maple Grove, then Columbus, Maple Grove National, then Columbus, and then Virginia Motorsports Park for their divisional event, Charlotte, ZMAX Dragway for the national, and then finished it off with Rockingham. And of all those races, I managed 2 more wins, and that's what really sealed the deal. And still can't believe it.
Wow.
To be honest, it's amazing.
Yes, and I know down in Rockingham, like when we spoke with you at ZMAX, you were well positioned, but it was still totally in question. But then after Rockingham, it looked like really good, because you had your perfect divisional claim, and a strong showing that, there were some people that if they did some miracle stuff, they could have won it for you. But was there a moment when your phone blew up and people said you're going to be the champion? Like, tell me about the moment where you went from Allison Doll, the stock eliminator racer, to Allison Doll, the champion. And, sometimes it happens with a driver standing at the return road, right? Watching a competitor go out, their final competitor lose in competition, and they become a champ. Sometimes it happens on the racetrack. Sometimes it happens, listening on NHRA.tv to someone who is far off. Where did it happen for you?
Well, I was raking leaves, which is probably the most unique thing, I suppose. So what had to happen is there were two people, and one of them would have to win basically the last three events in order to pass me in points. And that's a great feeling, but it's still not over. So, you're still waiting there, kind of watching. Doug wanted to watch, so he was logged into NHRA TV, watching the rounds as they went play by play. And I'm over in the corner on the couch with my hands over my eyes and not wanting to watch. So anyway, we watched first round, we watched second round. The guy keeps winning. It was Slate Cummings at the time, and he keeps winning. And I'm like, oh no, imagining the worst, of course. But finally, after second round, I said to Doug, I'm like, I don't think I could sit here for 2 hours, watch the rest of the rotation to see stock again. I got to go do something. So Doug's like, let's go do a few laps, with the mower, and you do some raking, and we'll get the leaves cleaned up, and we'll come in, and I'll watch third round. And I said, okay. So we go out. He's doing the laps with the mower. I'm raking the leaves. He comes over to me, and he's like, hey, it's getting almost time. I think stock will be running soon. And I said, okay. He's like, I'm going to do one more lap and dump the leaves, and we'll go in and watch. Okay. So he does his lap. He's dumping the leaves, and I swear it was the minute he shut off the lawnmower that my phone chimed. And then I didn't think too much of it. It's the weekend. People text you. Then all of a sudden it chimes again. And then it started going crazy, like ding, 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 ding. So I run over, I pick up the phone, and the first text I see is Alan Reinhart, and all it says is, you are the champion. And that was that.
Wow. That is a spectacular story of becoming a champion. And then all of a sudden, now you got to get out to Los Angeles to be a part of the Lucas Oil banquet, which I'm sure was not a problem. Immediately, booking flights or whatever. But and all of a sudden, what did your family think? What did your dad think? You guys are like a racing legacy family, the Smith family up there. He had to be so proud, the calls that went around immediately for you to go out there, and now you're a stock eliminator world champ.
Doug was so excited, of course. Like my husband, he was, we were just laughing, crying, and, the whole emotions. My mom was so excited. She, I could hear her screaming, to tell people. And it was just, cause I called them, and then I'm calling some of my close friends, Donnie Moulton, who races with us through the year. And it was just incredible. Everyone just, it was just such a relief part of it that it was official and the chase was done. And then I think after the relief passes, it's like, wow, we did this, or incredible.
Incredible. Well, Allison, I think it is incredible. I think you had a great year. It was very fun to watch. As we listed the top 10, you look at the guys that were battling for points in the year that you won. When you look back at that, I think it's going to become, so meaningful because it is. It's the best of the best of the best all up there contending against you. You had adversity. You fought through the adversity. You had some big moments and a lot of race wins. Congratulations on winning Stock Eliminator World Championship. Now, what is your schedule for the 2020 season? Are you going to go out and run for points again, or are you just going to see how the season starts? What is your plan?
Well, we always try to go to the Division I events and support, our home division. So I think I'm just going to take it like this year, go to some events, see how things go, and see if I should be trying to put more events on the schedule or just go to the home division races. That's kind of how I do it every year. Just, you can't force a win. You can't force things to go your way. So you just got to kind of go out and see what happens.
That's it. I like that attitude. Anything you'd like everybody out there in WFO Universe Land to know about, yourself, your championship season, maybe stock Eliminator in the Lucas Oil Series? You have the floor, whatever it is. You've earned it. You are a champion, and certainly a great season.
Yeah, I just really like to thank some of the companies that helped me, other than Porter Tree, my parents' company, which if you guys need a practice tree, just find me on Facebook or find Porter Tree on Facebook, and I can definitely help you out with a practice tree. But some of the other companies, Bischoff Engines, BES Racing Engines, Tony does a great job on the motors. Jack and Katie Spanic of Spanic Racing Transmissions, they really helped me out this year. Tom Kundrick from Mickey Thompson Tires, couldn't do it without the tires, that's for sure. Lenny Croto of Ultimate Converter Concepts, JC Beatty of ATI, and Jeff Kondratic. And, of course, Lucas Oil. I mean, they support our series so much. We couldn't do it without Lucas Oil.
Oh, so true. Yeah, you ever think about that? Like, who would be the replacement for Lucas Oil if they decided to not support sportsman racing? That would be a tough one.
I can't even imagine because they've been with sportsmen for so long. I just can't imagine.
Wow. Yeah. Did you have a good time at the banquet? I watched your speech. You did very well. You handled it very well. It was seeing the Lucas Oil banquet and seeing all you champions together, you and Megan and Sean Bellemere and Frankie and just everybody who did so well. We're going to hear from them all on WFO Radio. In fact, you are our first Lucas Oil Series champion, as according to my calculations. So you're kicking us off strong, Allison.
Well, that's awesome.
Did you have a good time? Like, it looked like it was a lot of fun for everybody.
It was awesome, and it was really great to meet all the other champions because, you look in the dragster and you see names, but it's so neat to, finally put a face to a name and a person to a name,
Yes, so true. So, well, and we don't think about that, but, you guys don't get too much time to be socializing, maybe after hours or something, but at a race, you're racing. And if you're in another division or if a Division 7 guy, there's a really good chance you're not going to know them.
It's true. And even, Division 1, we're kind of isolated up here. It's tough. Like, to get out of Division 1, you're going at least 10 hours to a track out, and 10 to 14 hours to a track out for me outside Division 1. So we don't get the opportunity to travel maybe as much as some other divisions do, I guess. But it was definitely neat to meet everyone.
Yes, but you are in the birthplace of our democracy, right? which is a big deal. You get to be up there in New England and have a great time. Allie, great job. It was a lot of fun watching you. Thank you for coming on WFO Radio Podcast and sharing your championship season. A lot of fun little anecdotes in there. Your dog's birthday. You got a win, your first win of the season. That was great. A lot of fun stuff there. Congratulations to you and Doug. And, you guys are exactly what we talk about, right? The family, the little, the couple that races together, and your life is kind of built around NHRA drag racing and drag racing in general. That is great stuff. Congratulations on your championship, and thank you for coming on WFO Radio Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great time, as always.
Thanks, Allison. Allison Doll with us here on WFO Radio Podcast. Now, her name is Allison. But a long time ago, she said to me that she knows who the people that her friends are the ones that call her Allie. And the people that call her Allison are not her friends. And so I always try to drop an Allie in there, here and there. Congratulations, Allie. And if you and your family are still listening to this or checking it out, so proud. Like, that is really cool. And hey, a championship for Pontiac out there is never a bad thing. We will have more Lucas Oil World Champions on WFO Radio, and frankly, this is one of my favorite things that I do. The stories of the championships. There's blood, there's sweat, there's tears, there's emotion. There's certainly a lot of miles and a lot of money to get these. And we hand out the trophies, and they have the trophies, and they hold up the trophies, and they give a speech, and we put the speech out on the internet, and that is great. But there is a story behind it. Like the raking leaves part of the story, like to me, that is priceless. And that's why we do this. And I'm sure it's coming out in other venues. I'm not saying we're the only ones. I am saying you should click subscribe immediately right now. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or download the free mobile app. But there's always a story. The idea that she said that Anthony Fetch was her stock eliminator hero, and she beat him in the final round to win her first race of the year, that she ultimately won the championship, that's what it is all about. And the self-satisfaction and emotion and pride that comes along with that. And it is unique to NHRA drag racing. It is unique to drag racing. I try to explain to my friends my admiration and connection to this sport. Like, why do I like it so much? And I can tell you that there are not too many places where like a regular person who's got a job and a life and a career can go out and compete and earn a world championship the same way that the Washington Nationals did. But really, that's what has happened. They built a team, they're a family, they're going, they're conquering, they're competing against others. They're experiencing the highs of the high and the lows of the low, having issues and living up to them, having roadblocks thrown in their way and going over or around them. And ultimately, when the dust clears and looking around, and the last man standing is Allison Doll. And she's a lady racer. And she has won a Stock Eliminator World Championship. That feeling, that's amazing. And that's what we do in NHRA Drag Racing. Fantastic. And we're going to hear from Super Gas and Super Comp and Super Stock, Comp Eliminator. The alcohol ranks, we're going to connect with them all. So you're never going to want to miss a show here on WFO Radio. And it's all possible thanks to Total Seal Piston Rings, samtech.edu, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, MagicDryUS.com, and Marvin Rodak and his coffee roasting business down there in Fort Worth, Texas. They sell grills, does a lot. He's a hustler, and if nothing else, you should definitely get a bag of Rodak's coffee for the holidays. You will love it. More WFO Radio Championship interviews to come. Our Ignition show is rocking out. The archive is loaded. We're going to catch up with more next week as we get closer and closer to the holidays and PRI. Big thanks to everybody. I'm Joe Castello, WFO.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio.
Oh, yeah.
You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to MagicDryUS.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. MagicDryUS.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's MagicDryUS.com. Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to FrankHawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for Super Comp, Super Gas, all the way up to Top Alcohol, they can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, FrankHawley.com, The Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO. Hey, engine builders, Total Seal piston rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
This is WFO Radio.